we won't know. We won't know until it's all complete. We won't know until it's. Shut up a minute.
Sorry?
I said shut up a minute. Jane's new. How do Jane?
Hi.
Hiya, Jane.
Hi. I'm just wondering. I just would like to ask a few questions. I've actually been listening to the show there for just a few minutes, and the first question that I would like to ask is this. It's obviously about Thomas Cook, of course. And the first question is, how does Thomas Cook going into liquidation affect the economy?
Very, very superficially, I would imagine, because the economy is absolutely massive, and that's only a small part of it.
Okay, so the money that is it ATOL? Sorry, I'm not exactly clued up with the government scheme at the moment that is in place.
Yeah.
Yes, for all the refunds and stuff like that. That is government funded, correct?
Not quite correct. The government underwrites it. This is my understanding of it.
So
the airlines.
Where is that money initially coming from? Is it coming from a government pot? Is it government money? Is it not government money?
Right.
I need a yes or a no answer.
You can't have a
government money.
You can't have a yes/no because yes/no doesn't cover it.
Why not?
Well, I was explaining when you started.
It's a simple question. Is it government money or isn't it government money? I mean,
the answer to that question is no and yes.
So how do you define?
Well, I was trying to explain it to you. Stop talking for a moment, Jane.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, well, stop talking for a moment. You asked me a question. You asked me a question. You asked me a question. I started to answer it, and then you asked it again and said, I want a yes/no answer. I will now explain to you what I think the position is. Firstly, ATOL is a group, a society, a club of airline operators. They pay a licence fee to be a member of ATOL. That money is effectively kept in a bank for when a problem arises, and that bank account pays out for the cost of resolving those problems. Because it is underwritten by the government, if that bank account doesn't have enough money in it, the government puts the money in, for want of a better expression. So at the moment, I believe that particular account has got 75 million quid in it, which is nothing like enough to cover the extraordinary cost of bringing all the people home. And so that's going to be funded ultimately by the government, and that means your taxes and mine. Okay.
So the next thing that I would like to say is, so if this is government assisted, and obviously the government have some sort of a part in this, things like, so moving on swiftly, okay, I did ask the question how it's going to affect the economics of the country. So basically the way I see it is this, okay, the money that every single person has paid, okay, the company bosses, the people that own that company, do they have any money out of that company? All this money, of course, yeah, the companies went into liquidation, okay? But I read an article on Facebook maybe about 10 minutes ago, and the article was every single boss with Thomas Cook had a £30 million payout. Would you know if that was true or not?
I don't know if it's true whether every single boss did. Certainly some of the senior bosses got what are called bonuses on top of their pay, and I believe the total bill of that is somewhere in the region of 9 million quid. But whether every single one did and whether that figure is accurate, I don't know. But yes, bosses got paid fantastic, for yours and my standards at least, fantastic bonuses.
Okay. Not only that, okay, so it really came to my attention it's came to my attention that not only is obviously everybody's probably going to get a refund via the bank, of course, because it's like anything. If somebody uses your credit card and you've not used it and it's been like some sort of a fraudulent transaction, you phone your bank, they immediately put you through to the fraud team and you're immediately refunded that money after they carry out their investigation, right?
Yeah, it's a separate issue, but yes.
Also, as well, I think it's a really big concern that the government have assisted. Obviously, loads of people have invested money. Yes, they do have the right to go get home, but the fact of the matter is, it is going to affect the economy for the simple fact that the government had to pay money out of their own pocket.
In that case, Jane, I stand corrected when I said that it won't affect the economy. It won't affect the economy, and I'll explain why. The amount of money is, by yours and my measure, an enormous amount of money. But in terms of the amount of money that the government has, it is very little. Very little.
But in some sort of a way, the government are saying that they don't have enough money to fund people.
And the government says they listen. Let me. I'll give you an experiment that you can try that will answer your question. Okay. And that is, what I want you to do is I want you to get a glass of water, and then I want you to get a tissue, and I want you to get the corner of the tissue and dip it in the water very quickly and out again, like that. And the water, listen to me, the water on that tissue will affect the amount of water in the glass. There will be less water in the glass, but you'll never notice it.
Are you basically saying that the government's got unlimited money?
No, I'm saying that the government has got £650 billion a year to spend.
So how much of that £650 billion a year is going to having to bail out a company that's went into liquidation?
Well, they're not bailing out a company,
and I do feel
they're not bailing out a company that's going into liquidation.
So, but you say that the government are funding some sort of a part.
The government are funding the repatriation of those people who were stuck abroad, but they are not. They are not rescuing the company. Had they rescued the company, it would have cost 200 million, which is a lot of money, but in terms of government is a small amount.
So realistically, how much are they paying out? How much is
we won't know until we won't know until it's all complete. We won't know until it's. Shut up a minute.
Sorry?
I said shut up a minute. And if you don't wait till the end of the sentence, have a good night. How do Laura?